Attention! Your Social Security check is changing right now. If you are 65 or older, you need to stop what you're doing. March 2026 is not just another month. It is a month of massive, fundamental shifts that will directly impact your bank account and how you interact with the Social Security Administration. First, the March 7th deadline. The SSA is officially retiring its decades-old local scheduling model. Starting this week, your claims will be handled by a national workload management system. This means your file could be sent to an agent 3 states away. If you have a pending claim or need an appointment, the local office era is over. We'll show you how to navigate this new national maze so your benefits aren't delayed. But that's not all. Have you checked your balance? Because March 1st fell on a Sunday, millions of SSI recipients actually received their March payment on February 27th. If you're looking for a check this week and don't see it, don't panic. But you must budget carefully because your next payment is a long way off. Plus, we are diving into the One Big Beautiful Bill tax breaks that are live right now for the 2026 tax season, potentially saving you up to $6,000 in taxable income. You cannot afford to miss these specific March updates. Watch this entire video to protect your retirement. If you find this information helpful, smash that like button to help us reach more seniors who need to hear this. The transition starting on March 7th is a watershed moment for the Social Security Administration. And if you are currently receiving benefits or planning to apply in the coming months, you need to understand that the agency, as you have known it for decades, is fundamentally changing its internal operating model. For as long as most of us can remember, the local Social Security field office was the primary point of contact, a place you could go to sit down with a representative who understood the specific context of your community and your case. That geographical tether is being severed to accommodate a new, centralized national system. The shift to a national appointment scheduling calendar and a national workload management system is, at its core, a direct response to agency-wide staffing shortages and a desperate need to balance the immense, ever-growing volume of claims that have been piling up across the country. The reality is that the agency can no longer sustain the model where independent local offices function like individual silos, each with their own unique appointment availability and processing speeds. Instead, they are moving toward a unified, nationwide pool. When you call in or attempt to schedule an appointment after this Saturday, you are no longer guaranteed to speak with someone in your home state. Your file, your sensitive documents, and your unique retirement or disability case could be routed to an agent sitting in an office 2,000 miles away. On the surface, the administration frames this as a path toward efficiency, promising that by redistributing workloads in real time, they can level the playing field and potentially reduce the long wait times that have plagued many offices. Yet, there is a palpable sense of concern among advocates and even many internal staffers who worry that this massive centralization will introduce new, unforeseen complexities. They fear that a representative in a different region who may not be intimately familiar with the nuances of regional guidelines or your specific local situation might struggle to provide the high level of personalized service that you have grown accustomed to expecting. There is also the critical issue of the SSI payment schedule adjustments that occurred earlier this month, which have caused no small amount of confusion for millions of seniors and disabled individuals. Because the 1st of March fell on a Sunday, the Social Security Administration was required by federal regulation to process those payments early, resulting in deposits hitting bank accounts on February 27th. If you are someone who relies on that monthly income to cover your rent, your groceries, and your medication, that early arrival might have seemed like a blessing at the time, but it creates a significant, hidden danger for your budget. Many people, seeing that money hit their account a few days ahead of schedule, naturally felt a sense of relief and perhaps adjusted their spending accordingly. The problem is that the gap between that February 27th payment and your next scheduled deposit in early April is longer than a standard 30-day month. This is a classic budgeting trap that many beneficiaries fall into, where they find themselves facing a period of several extra days without any incoming support. It is imperative that you audit your personal finances right now to ensure that you have planned for this longer than usual window. Do not assume that your next payment will arrive on the 1st. Check the specific date based on your birth month or filing status, and make sure your essential expenses are covered until that next check arrives. If you find yourself in a position where the early payment has left you short, do not wait until the last minute to look for resources in your community, as many local agencies have programs specifically designed to bridge these gaps for seniors, but they often require time to process your request. Beyond the immediate operational and payment changes, we have to talk about the tax landscape for 2026, which is shifting in ways that could put significant money back into your pocket if you play your cards right. The legislative package, colloquially known as the One Big Beautiful Bill that was signed into law last summer, includes a specific provision that is a massive win for those of you aged 65 and older. This is a new, temporary senior tax deduction that allows eligible taxpayers to reduce their taxable income by up to $6,000. This is a game changer because it stacks on top of the standard deductions you are already familiar with, essentially acting as an additional layer of protection against the federal tax burden on your Social Security income. However, the caveat is that this benefit is not universal. It is subject to a phase-out based on your modified adjusted gross income. If you are an individual filer with a modified adjusted gross income below $75,000, or a married couple filing jointly with a combined income below $150,000, you are eligible for the full amount. As you climb above those thresholds, the benefit begins to taper off, and once you hit the upper limits of $175,000 for individuals or $250,000 for couples, that deduction is completely phased out. It is absolutely vital that you sit down with your tax preparer or use your tax software to specifically look for this deduction, as it is not always automatically applied, and you might have to flag it yourself to ensure you are receiving the full value that you are entitled to under this new law. This deduction is designed to remain in place through the 2028 tax year, which gives you a sustained window of opportunity to optimize your tax situation over the coming years, provided you remain vigilant about how you report your income. Now, as we look at the broader picture of why these changes are happening, we have to be honest about the state of the system itself. The Social Security Administration is facing an unprecedented wave of retirements from the baby boomer generation, which is putting immense, sustained pressure on both their budget and their human resources. The move to a nationalized workload system is, in many ways, an admission that the old ways of doing things are no longer compatible with the modern scale of the program. They are betting heavily on technology, including the expansion of their online portal and the increased use of artificial intelligence to handle initial inquiries and scheduling, to carry the load that human staff can no longer sustain. For many of you, this transition will be seamless, especially if you are comfortable navigating the agency's online portal. The My Social Security account has become an indispensable tool, allowing you to track your benefit status, update your direct deposit information, and access your yearly benefit verification letters without ever having to pick up the phone or set foot in a field office. If you have not yet created an account, I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to do so immediately. It is the most reliable way to stay informed about your claim status and to ensure that you have a digital trail for every interaction you have with the agency, which could be critical if you ever need to dispute a decision or follow up on a missing document. The goal of the agency is to move as much traffic as possible to these digital channels, and those who embrace these tools will almost certainly experience less friction in the coming months as the new national systems fully come online. There is also a deeper, more philosophical shift occurring here, one that requires us to be more proactive about our own retirement security. We are moving away from an era where you could simply walk into a local office and expect someone to hold your hand through the entire process. The expectation from the Social Security Administration is now clearly moving toward a self-service model. They want you to be educated, prepared, and ready to navigate the system on your own terms. This means that if you are approaching retirement or if you are already receiving benefits, you have a responsibility to be your own best advocate. You need to understand the rules of the road, the dates of your payments, and the tax implications of your income. You need to keep meticulous records of every conversation you have with an agent, noting the date, the time, the name of the person you spoke with, and the specific guidance you were given. Because your case could now be moved between different national hubs, having that documentation is your best defense against errors or inconsistencies in your file. It might feel like a daunting task, and it is perfectly normal to feel frustrated by the lack of the personal touch that defined the agency for so long, but viewing this as a challenge to be managed rather than an insurmountable obstacle will serve you much better in the long run. The system is still there to support you, and the benefits you have earned through a lifetime of hard work are not in danger, but the method of accessing that support is changing beneath your feet, and your ability to adapt to that change is going to be the deciding factor in how smoothly your experience goes over the next year. We should also touch upon the reality of what this means for disability claimants and those who have complex appeals or cases in progress. These individuals are the most vulnerable to the disruptions that often accompany such large-scale technical migrations. If you are currently in the middle of a disability appeal, or if your case requires a high level of documentation and frequent interaction with an adjudicator, you need to be hyper-vigilant right now. The promise of the new National Workload Management System is that it will route your case to the agent with the right expertise, but the transition phase is where the risk is highest. Make sure that you have digital copies of everything you have sent to the agency, and if you are scheduled for a hearing or a consultative examination, confirm your appointment multiple times. Do not take a notification for granted, and if you haven't heard back within a reasonable window, do not hesitate to reach out. The agency's phone lines are likely to be under immense strain as everyone tries to understand these new rules, so if you can, try to utilize the secure messaging options within the online portal, as those leave a clear, time-stamped record that is much easier to track than a standard phone call. It is also a smart move to stay in contact with any representative you might have, such as an attorney or a disability advocate, because they will likely have their own channels and insights into how the national system is behaving in your specific region. As we move past the March 7th implementation date, expect a period of growing pains as the agency works out the kinks in the new scheduling software and the national workload distribution protocols. There may be moments where the system appears slow or where you find yourself waiting longer than you would like on the phone, but stay patient. This is a massive, multi-billion-dollar infrastructure shift, and while it will not be perfect, it is the new reality. Your ability to remain calm, to stay organized, and to lean into the online resources will be your biggest asset. The most successful retirees will be the ones who treat their Social Security relationship like a serious business partnership, one that requires constant vigilance, clear communication, and a willingness to embrace the tools that are being provided. We will continue to track these developments closely, providing updates on any further shifts in the payment schedules, any new guidance from the Social Security Administration regarding the national workload system, and any further tax policy changes that might affect your bottom line. You are not alone in this. Millions of Americans are navigating these exact same changes, and the more informed we all are, the better we can hold the system accountable and protect our hard-earned benefits. There is absolutely no reason for you to feel intimidated by these changes. They are designed to improve efficiency, and once the dust settles, they should provide a more robust, modern way for the agency to serve you. Just remember that the transition is not the time to be passive. It is the time to be engaged, to be prepared, and to stay ahead of the curve. Your retirement is the result of a lifetime of effort, and it is worth every bit of the effort it takes to ensure that it remains secure and that you are getting every single dollar you are entitled to under the law. We are going to continue to pull back the curtain on these updates as they happen, ensuring that you have the clarity you need to navigate these months with confidence. If this information has helped you feel more prepared, please do not forget to support the work we are doing by hitting that like button, which helps us get these updates in front of as many people as possible, and subscribe so you don't miss the next vital update in our series. Thank you for your time and your trust. Let's make sure 2026 is a secure year for all of us.